I have some big news to share with you in today's video. Although it seems like the crypto market is super choppy, it's just going sideways, and it's quite boring to be honest, well, nothing is less true. There are a few big things, big developments happening in the market right now. And while most people don't understand it, if you do, you'll realize how big the opportunity in the market is right now. So that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. And as usual, I've also prepared a bunch of interesting charts, tweets, and news updates, which are going to back this up. And if you want to see more valuable updates, market analysis, like the one that I'm sharing in this video today, then make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be posting regularly throughout this market cycle to help you to maximize your profits as a crypto investor. So let me start off by sharing this with you. As I mentioned in the introduction of this video, the market is currently quite fearful. So the fear and greed indicator is indicating, 28, which is in the fear, almost extreme fear domain. Here, if we look at the fear and greed over the long term, you see that right now, the fear in the market is still close to almost the bottom of the bear market, where we saw the collapse, of Three Arrows Capital, BlockFi, FTX. So right now, the market is almost just as fearful as that period. But why? Why is it so fearful? Because we see positive news coming out every single day. And I'm also going to share why people are so fearful right now. That will be the final part of this video, in fact. The big news that I want to share with you is that the South Korean pension fund, called the National Pension Service, the NPS, bought $34 million worth of MicroStrategy stock. And in case you don't know what MicroStrategy is, it's a publicly traded company. Initially, it is a software company, but in 2021 or 2020, more or less, they realized that rather than holding their treasuries in cash on in their bank account or in treasury bills or bonds, it would be a lot more interesting for them to invest their cash in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the best asset class of the past decade. And after doing a lot of research, the MicroStrategy team decided to adopt a Bitcoin treasury strategy. And they have been buying hundreds and thousands of Bitcoin every once in a while. They keep on stacking more and more and more Bitcoin. Right now, they're one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin, and their CEO, Michael Saylor, has become one of the biggest spokesmen and ambassadors for this asset. So why is this so huge? Why is this news so insane that I had to put it in my thumbnail and make this video for you? Well, right now, the largest pension fund in the world is the GPIF, which is the Japanese pension fund. The second largest second largest pension fund is the Norwegian pension fund. So the first largest, the Japanese pension fund, manages 1.7 trillion. The Norwegian pension fund manages $1.4 trillion worth of assets. And the third largest is the South Korean pension fund, the NPS, which is managing roughly $800 billion worth of assets. And the interesting thing is that each of these top three largest pension funds in the world, the Japanese, the Norwegian, and the South Korean, are indirectly investing in Bitcoin. In most cases, they're investing through MicroStrategy, which is seen as a proxy. So if you're investing in MicroStrategy stock, you're buying a software company, but they're holding a lot of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and they keep on buying more and more and more. So many individuals and companies that want to get exposure to Bitcoin buy MicroStrategy stock or Bitcoin spot ETFs. And in the world of finance, often when we see a few large players, especially when it's the top three largest players in the space, when they start to adopt a certain strategy, it starts to become more mainstream. So it is very likely that these three pension funds, or the adoption of Bitcoin by these top three largest pension funds in the world, is going to trigger a chain reaction where also all of these smaller pension funds are also potentially going to allocate some of their portfolio to Bitcoin. So the Singaporean pension fund managing almost 375 billion. Then we have the Kuwaiti pension fund managing almost 160 billion. The Chinese pension fund managing almost 400 billion. Australia 100 billion. So I believe there's a few in Australia. The Canadian pension fund 420 billion. So again, so far Bitcoin has been a asset that has been dominated by retail investors, like individuals like you and me that are putting their savings or the profits from their businesses into Bitcoin. And this is great. Most people have a few hundred, a few thousand, maybe a few 100,000 or a few million to invest in Bitcoin. But the the companies or the institutions that are now entering the market are of a whole different level. This is institutional money. And when the institutions get in, they get in by the tens of millions, the hundreds of millions, and even the billions. And that's why I believe we are witnessing a historical moment right in front of our eyes where we are going to see billions and billions of institutional money that is going to flow into this space. And all of these pension funds and institutions are now just testing out the waters. They're seeing and they're looking like, is this something that I want to allocate an even bigger percentage of my portfolio to? And when we're going to see the bull market happen and the price of Bitcoin is starting to go up, then we're probably going to see that even more and more money will flow into this asset. And all of that while El Salvador keeps on mining more and more Bitcoin. Currently, they have mined around 474 Bitcoin on their mining setup, which is built on top of a volcano or close to a volcano, which uses the heat of the volcano to generate energy, and the energy in turn they use to mine Bitcoin. So countries are getting into Bitcoin mining right now because they see the huge potential of Bitcoin compared to traditional fiat currencies like the euro, the dollar, the Japanese yen. And El Salvador is not the only one. We also see the National Wealth Fund of Bhutan, which is a small country, but with a lot of natural resources. They have a big hydro dam, which they're using to generate electricity to mine Bitcoin. And again, these are not retail investors, these are countries. And slowly but surely, we're seeing more and more countries now also starting to FOMO in and are getting more and more interested in getting involved in the Bitcoin space. Bitcoin balances, even though the crypto market is very fearful, Bitcoin balances on exchanges are at a record low, meaning that there is not much available supply on the open market. And very soon, when the bull market starts, there will be even less supply available on the open market. And when there is very limited supply while demand keeps on increasing, usually that means that the price of something tends to go up over the long term. So Ash Crypto is making a comment and he's saying, in 2024, we have survived the grayscale dump, World War III fears. Actually, we had different scenarios in Israel and Iran. We had the Ukraine war. Like there's so there's so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt right now in the market. Mount Gox, which is going to repay its creditors, but in return they need to sell some of their crypto bags. There were huge fears that this was going to dump the market. The German government dumping all of their Bitcoin. The US government, which I explained in my previous YouTube video, also potentially selling a large portion of its crypto bags, of its Bitcoin bags. Bitcoin miners, which were forced to capitulate and sell some of their Bitcoin in order to fund their operations. The Genesis dump, the BlockFi dump, the Jump Trading dump. We are survivors. If you've made it this far and you haven't sold your Bitcoin, then you are a survivor. And people think hodling is easy. It's not easy. It's going to play with your emotions, but you need to learn to remove your emotions from the equation. Only then you'll be able to make lots of wealth over the long term. And while all of this is happening, while we see all of these bullish signals, the global liquidity, so meaning all of the money that is floating through the financial markets, is also on a up cycle. So here you see that we see global liquidity rising. So Ash is saying, once global liquidity starts to rise by Q3 end, Bitcoin and crypto will resume with their pump. So there's a very big correlation, or historically, there has been a very big correlation between the global liquidity and the Bitcoin price. So the more liquidity is in the system, the more the prices of assets like Bitcoin tend to increase. So this is a very bullish sign. Now, let's briefly talk about the US presidential election. So uh, we've seen a situation where Biden basically canceled his candidacy and Kamala Harris took over. And for a very short period, or for the previous few weeks, we saw that Kamala Harris took the lead and basically scored a higher probability of winning the presidential elections than Donald Trump. However, in the past few days, we're seeing almost a tie. So it's almost 50-50 between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. If you're looking on Twitter or X or however you want to call it, the crypto community tends to believe that if Donald Trump wins the elections, it might be very bullish for crypto, because so far Donald Trump has been the pro-crypto candidate in the eyes of the crypto community. So they believe that a Donald Trump presidency will bring in a lot of favorable conditions and regulations for the crypto market. So I believe most of the crypto market is rooting for Donald Trump, but that might be a very small section of the US. I don't want to make this a political discussion. Everyone can have their own preferences, of course. I'm just sharing what the crypto community believes and thinks is the most bullish for the industry overall, and what the current status of these elections is, according to Polymarket, which is a decentralized gambling platform. Now, Rect Capital is a Twitter account which I generally follow. They have really nice charts which put everything into perspective. And this shows the previous cycles, the 2016 cycle, 2020 cycle, 2024 cycle. These were all moments, like the blue lines are all moments when the Bitcoin halvings happened. What we usually see is that when a Bitcoin halving happens, we see a short sell-off, then the market goes sideways for a short while, and then the market shoots up. It seems like this pattern is still in play, although it seems like it might take a little bit longer than usual for the market to shoot up to the upside, but the pattern still seems to be in play. So we need to be a bit patient, which brings me to the following. When you are investing, most people like to believe that the market only goes straight up from the moment that they buy a certain asset or investment. That's not really the case. The market goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. That's volatility. And when the market dips or goes through a correction, that's when most uneducated investors throw the towel in the ring and they give up. They sell their investment at a loss. But this is actually the time to keep holding on and to keep accumulating more, because these periods are periods where you can buy really great assets at bargain prices. I keep on repeating this throughout every one of my videos. You need to train your brain to see red days and to see market fears and panics as really great buying opportunities. Q4, right now there's a consensus amongst crypto investors, mainly on Twitter, that Q4 is going to be the moment where we're going to see the next leg of the Bitcoin bull market start to form. Of course, the next leg up. And why is that? Well, that is because we're looking at historical price movements. Generally, September is not a great month, but Q4 and Q1, those are the best months. We usually call October, Uptober, because historically it has performed, it has delivered really great returns for Bitcoin. So we just need to be a bit more patient for now. Again, learn how to rewire your brain to turn red days into really great buying opportunities, to accumulate more. Stay patient, don't panic sell, don't sell all of your Bitcoin to the large whales, and zoom out. Understand all of the really positive developments that are currently happening in the markets. It's quite a big deal. And it's quite interesting to see how far we have come with Bitcoin so far. Bitcoin was released in 2009. At that time, it was an asset class for a very small group of people, mostly academics and tech geeks, in lack of better words. So right now we're seeing that institutional investors, companies, and more players are entering the market that are all interested in adding Bitcoin to their investment portfolio. If you've paid attention at Economics 101, you understand the supply and demand mechanics. When there's limited supply, while there's increasing demand, then usually the price of something tends to go up. And right now, crypto and Bitcoin in particular is dirt cheap. So take advantage of these very interesting times. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be posting more valuable market analysis like the one that you've just been watching on my YouTube channel. So enjoy, peace out, and see you in the next one.